Hi everyone, it's great to have you with us. My name is Rizwan. I'm part of the migration team at Cloudways. Today in this session, I'm going to guide you step by step on how you can migrate your WordPress application to Cloudways using Cloudways Migrator Plugin. It's a straightforward process, but there is one prerequisite, and that is we need to have a destination ready, which means that we need to have a destination server along with the destination application, which can be used for the migration and which will serve as the landing site for our source application. So if you do not have a destination server or application, you don't need to worry. It's quite simple on Cloudways to add a server and application. I'll quickly show you guys that as well. Once you log into your account, then there are a couple of ways by which you can add a server or either you can go to the add server option from here, and you can select the application you would like to add along with the server. You can give the application for the server as well. You can select the provider and the specification according to your needs and requirements. And lastly, you will select the location. You can choose the location that is nearest to your. After that, you will click on Launch Now. And that's it. It will give you a cloud-based server in a couple of minutes, and your server will be ready for the migration. If you do not have the destination application ready, we can do that as well. After logging into your account, you can go into the add application option from here, and from the drop down we can choose the WordPress application as we are migrating the WordPress site from source, and we can give it a name and choose a project and then click on add application, and it will add your destination WordPress application. So now that our destination is ready and we have a server and application, we can move to the plugin installation and the actual migration part. But before we do that, I would like to share with you, you can also visit our regarding the migration because it not only contains information around the plugin migration, but it also contains information around the server setup and things such as key features which can help you in deciding or can be the deciding factor for you to migrate your application to. Now let's return. We should return back to the. We need to log in into our source website. That is the website we want to migrate to Cloudways. And after logging into the dashboard, we just need to go into the add plugin option. When we are into the plugin option, to find the Cloudways WordPress Migrator plugin, what I'll do, I'll simply type in Cloudways and it should give me the plugin. Yes, that's it. I'll install it. It will take a minute or two to install the plugin. Now I'll activate it. Once the plugin is activated, what we need to do is go into the, here I will use my, and this email address will be used to send the updates regarding the migration, the migrate button. Okay, on this page, we need to add the destination details, the destination application and the destination server details. That means the Cloudways application and server details. I have created my application, which I will use for this. What I need to do is just simply copy the details from here and paste it into the migration plugin form. Copy the server IP, the database name. For the server SFTP and password details, we need to go into the server details, which we can do from here. And under the master credentials, you will see that there is the username and password that is used for the SSH, and we will add those here. And that's it. We have added our destination details, the application URL, the server IP, the database name, the username, SFTP username, and the. Now, if sometimes in some cases there are source websites which have more directories than the default WordPress. In those cases, you can select this option. And in my case, there is no additional directories, so it's not showing here. But if you have those and you would like to copy them over as well, which resides under your web root, you can simply click yes, and those directories will appear here, and you can select those as well. And similarly, you can check the database table as well. Now that we have entered the details and we are ready to proceed, we just need to click on the migrate option. Okay, before I click here, I would like you to know that the process can take some time. It depends on the size of the application, whether it takes a few minutes, and it can take more time for the larger websites. So to save some time, I have pre-recorded this to show you that how it will look on your end when you will perform the migration for your website. The details are added. You can see that the plugin has started syncing the source web files and database. And the plugin is designed specifically to copy the WordPress application to the destination Cloudways application without any manual intervention. So it runs in the background and it does not affect the live website in any way. And once the process completes, we should see a message that tells us that our migration has been completed. Yes, that's it. Now this message tells us that our migration has been completed, and the main part of our migration is now complete. But now we need to check if our migrated application it works just as the source. So what we can do is that we open the destination application. This is the URL I use for the migration, and the source application. We can put them, verify if the UI and the layout of the application is exactly like the source. As we can see that it is. In my case, the migration is successful. We can check furthermore for different pages under the website. If these are working as expected, we can check for different functionalities. Yes, everything seems fine on my end. And furthermore, you can also check by logging into your destination WP admin to verify if the plugins, themes, media files, and other functionality is working as expected. And one thing to remember here is that your destination user credentials would be the same as you are using on the source website. This is because when we migrated the application, the database of the source application is copied over to the destination. So the user and the credentials you are using on source would work just as they are working on the source on the destination. Now, when we have checked everything that we want on the destination application, we are satisfied with it, and we have checked it thoroughly. Now we can make sure that we have completed our migration.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Hamna. I am Senior Cloud Engineer at Cloudways, and I'll be walking you through how we handle website migrations from the very first request to post migration support. Now, I understand that migrations can feel very overwhelming, especially when your website is critical to your business. So, my goal today is to make this process very clear and easy for you. So, in this session, I'll be covering these topics and I will try to fill all the gaps for you. And if you feel any confusion, let me know in the comments and we will be happy to answer those questions. So, first, let's talk about how you can submit the managed migration request. Basically, there are three ways. First is managed migration add on. We provide application migration add-on. You can use that to submit a migration request, and we provide first migration free of cost. And if you need to avail more than one migration, you can scroll down here and you will be able to see the pricing for each type of websites. Now, about how to create a migration ticket and how to submit the required information. So basically, the first thing before we create a migration ticket, the first thing that you'll always want to do before any migration is to create a proper migration ticket. The more accurate and complete your information is from the start, the faster we can jump in and begin, which means less back and forth and a smoother experience for everyone. So to create a ticket, you first need to log into your account in your Cloudways account, and you need to navigate to integrations. You will see this option on left hand side of your screen, application migration. Yes, submit your application. Now here you need to select the destination application that you want your source website to be migrated to. I am selecting this WordPress application. Now here you need to add the correct domain URL, domain admin access. For example, if you want to migrate the WordPress or Magento application, you need to add the backend URL, its username and password. And once we have added all the information here, you can click on next and it will take you to the next page. So let's add the required information one by one. Now I can click on next button and it will take me to the next page. Now the connections you are seeing here, these are the multiple connection types which are used to migrate the websites, and you need to share the connection type you have on your source server and click the next button. I am selecting other hosting for the demo purpose, clicking on next. Now, in this very first box, you need to add any specific checks you want us to perform after the migration. For example, if you want us to check if permission of any particular folder is exactly as per your source site or the directory structure you want us to follow, or any XYZ instructions that you want us to take care, you can add that here. And in additional notes, you can just add any extra information that you want us to know. Basically, please remember, the more information and clarity we have, the sooner we will be able to start the migration for you. And one pro tip here, if possible, always share your SSH credentials with us. Basically, SSH is usually the quickest and most stable method, and it's also a secure way to move your data during migration. But if SSH access is not available on your site, that's totally fine too. You can just upload a full backup to Google Drive or any cloud storage that you prefer personally and drop the link in the additional notes section. But you need to make sure that the backup you are uploading is the latest version and includes everything, so the migration can move forward or start very smoothly without any delays. And in case you are able to submit a ticket here, unable to submit a ticket from here, let me add something, clicking on submit, and it will show you that your migration application request is successfully submitted. But just in case you are unable to submit a migration request from here, you can just click on support center. You will find this option on left hand side of your screen, create a ticket, open a ticket, and it will take you to this page. Now you can click on submit request. You can add, choose department, subject, managed migration, or anything else you prefer personally. Description, I want to migrate my website, and you need to add all the details you have, for example, WP admin, backend access or SSH access, or if you are migrating your website from SiteGround or Kinsta or WP Engine, you need to add the login access here as well. Priority that you want to select, here I am choosing migrations. You need to add your Cloudways domain name and just click on submit. Now in pre-migration checks, so before starting any migrations, there are few basic checks I always recommend doing. These small checks save a lot of time later for both of us, for you and for us that are doing the migration for you. So the first thing that I recommend checking is disk space. You need to make sure the destination server has enough space to hold the data coming from your source server. For example, if your website is hosted on platform like WP Engine or Kinsta, it's very important to know how much space your website is actually using. And if it's WordPress website, this is super easy to check. You just need to log into your WP admin. Here you need to click on tools. I'll show you from the start, just a moment. Okay, here on from tools to site health, and here in directories and sizes, this part will show you the exact size of your application that your application is taking. Also, if you are migrating from the non-WordPress website, for example, if you are migrating a Magento, custom PHP application, Laravel or PrestaShop, you can always check the size of your website by either connecting to your source server or by connecting with your developer or source hosting support. Just ask them how much this space is your website is taking, and they will let you know. And once you have done that, once you know that how much space my website is particularly taking, you just need to make sure that the destination server has enough free space by adding the exact or more disk space on destination server. Or if you have already created a server, you can just always upscale your disk space by adding the block storage. Because if you don't do that, if you do not have the enough disk space on your destination server, then it's like trying to put groceries in the fridge and then realizing the fridge is already full, and that would just delay the overall process for you, and we don't want that, right? Yes, so I was saying the pre-migration checks. So the next thing that you need to check, that I recommend checking, is PHP version. So before we proceed with any migration, we always compare the PHP versions on both the source and destination servers. They should either be the same or not, at least not too different. What this helps avoid us the compatibility issues once the site is live or migrated. So if on source website the PHP version is 8.1 or 7.4, you just need to make sure that on destination server you have the exact PHP version. Otherwise you will end up having the difficulties or compatibility issues after the site is migrated or after you have taken your website live, and we do not want that. That will just make the process difficult for both of us. Now, during migration, what we do during the migration is, once we start the migration and verify all the details, we send you an update to let you know that the migration is in progress. Typically, our migration SLA is 24 hours. So, during this time, our team handles the entire process. And once the migration is completed, we update you again and guide you through the next steps, including what to check and how to validate everything on your end. And what we do in post migration checks, once the migration is completed, we don't just stop there. We take some time to carefully go through the website and make sure everything looks and works the way it should. We check things like the layout and fonts, internal pages, and test important features such as add to cart, checkout, and login or registration processes. And once we are satisfied that everything is working fine, we then install Breeze and Object Cache Pro to help boost the website performance, to make sure that the migrated site that you are getting is very optimal and is in good is in good speed overall. And once we have done that, we send out a service ready ticket. This is basically our way of letting you know that your site has been successfully migrated, and we also guide you through the next steps that you should be taking before updating your DNS, so that you do not end up with the incorrect migrated website. Now, what kind of applications are supported under the managed migration? So, with our assisted migrations, we support popular platforms like WordPress, Magento, Laravel, PrestaShop, and even custom PHP applications. And if you are not sure which CMS or framework your website is built on, that's completely okay. No need to worry about that. You just need to reach out to us, and our team can take a look at your website's file structure and we will help identify it for you. So that would be all from me. Just want you to remember that our goal today and overall is very simple. That is to make your migration very easy, safe, and something that you don't have to lose your sleep over or worry about.
Okay, I'm going to briefly walk you through some of the most common concerns that make user hesitant, whether they should migrate an application or if they will run into issues if they try to migrate an application, and whether it will impact their source website. Uh, some major concerns are surrounding the SEO impact. When someone migrates their application, they tend to think that it may impact their SEO. But during migration, Cloudways uses temporary default URLs with a no-follow header, which means that the search engines cannot uh, crawl or index the site before it goes live. In return, it means that the source website SEO is not affected by the migration. Another concern is around the permalink and the URL structure. During migration, your URL structure remains unchanged, and they are completely preserved during the migration. So we do not have to worry about the URL or the permalink changes once the migration is completed. Now, we often also get questions about if they try to migrate their application, whether the source website will get down or if the website will get affected by the migration. So the short answer for that is no, your source website will not be affected by the migration. Whether you use the plugin migration or if you use managed migration, in both cases, your source website will remain live, and it will not get affected by the migration process. One of the major concerns users have is around data loss. What if new data has been added to the source website during or after the migration, or when you were testing the migrated website? For example, new orders or new comments or any new articles. To ensure that no data is lost, there are two important elements that we should always look after, such as number one, resync schedule, and the other one is and how it will affect the overall process. We will discuss it under the migration flow. For websites that are frequently updated, such as we discussed, WooCommerce store or a blog, busy blog where articles are updated, uh, and other kind of website that get frequently updated, then how can we tackle this? We have identified the issue, but what will be the solution, or how we can resolve the issue? So for that, we have proposed this migration flow. This flow caters to almost all the scenarios. For some of the websites, the flow can be shortened, but for websites that receive frequent updates, we advise that you follow this flow so that no data get lost during the migration. So how this flow will work? First, we will do the test migration. As we initially did in the webinar, we performed a migration on the destination Cloudways application using the default URL. After the test migration is completed, we will test the destination application. We will verify the pages, plugins, themes, media files, and the complete functionality, so that we are satisfied that what we have migrated is exactly like the source application. Okay, now that we have done the test migration and the testing of it, most important part of this flow is planning of the resync activity or the remigration. This covers those application which receives heavy updates or frequent updates. So how we will do the resync? For that, you should choose a time where there is lowest traffic on the application. And during that time, before starting the resync, you will need to put the source site under maintenance mode, so that no new changes are getting added on the source application. And also, you should not make any changes via the backend or via WP admin as well. Then you can perform the remigration of the application, so that any new changes that were on the source after the migration will get synced to the destination as well. One important thing to note here is that when you will perform the resync or remigration, if you have made any changes on the destination, these will get overwritten. We advise that you should not make any changes on the destination application until you have taken the website live. Now that we have done the resync planning, another important thing is that before we take the website live, we should verify if we need to configure any SMTP or mailbox settings. For example, if your website send transactional emails such as order receipts or emails via the contact form. So in this case, you should first verify if you need to set up any email or SMTP or mailbox configuration before you take the website live. The final part would be test the destination application, verify if finally if it works same as the source. You can also check if the newest data that was present on the source is present on the destination as well. And once you are completely satisfied that the destination is completely synced with the source, you can take the decision of taking the website live by changing the records for your domain and point it to the destination server. Following this flow, what we have done is we identified an issue. The issue was what if any new data or gets added on the source and the risk of losing data. What this flow did for us is we resolved that issue by doing a resync activity. And during that resync, as we said earlier, the most important point was to put the site under maintenance mode and perform the resync as per the schedule which you decide when the traffic is lowest on your. And one more thing, remember, if you get stuck at any stage, whether it's the initial migration, or when you are deciding when you will take the website live, or any other part of the flow, whether it's regarding the email or the mailbox configuration, or any DNS configuration part. If you are not sure about it, how you can update the DNS, you do not need to worry about it, and you can always contact Cloudways support via chat or ticket, and we will be glad to help you and to take your website live without any worries.